Welcome to Chalk Talk Sports Podcast, powered by Powering You. I'm your host, Daryl Duvall, inviting you to see us weekly. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Android. And in the future, hopefully this fall, we're going to be on Facebook Live on a tour. Just a little information about Powering You. Powering You was founded in 2015 to inspire and to enlighten people who are on a personal journey. With that in mind, we decided to create a platform to share the stories of great athletes and the things that motivate them. When it comes to motivation, athletes have to be trained to push themselves to another level. Leaders are trained to find what motivates a team, and personal motivation drive individuals. In today's podcast, we're talking to Steve Quinn, president, co-owner of Football University, All-American Bowl on NBC partner. Well, NBC is a partner. Is that correct,
They
Steve?
they are. They actually, Daryl. They actually. First of all, thanks for having me on. And but to answer your question, yes, they are the partner for Football University, but they actually own the rights to the bowl game.
Okay. So, Steve, we can go ahead and start this interview right now. But, the first question I want to know is, how has COVID-19 actually changed the recruiting and seeing basically your business?
Yeah, in our business directly, it's impacted obviously because currently we can't do camps right now, right? So we're just like everybody else. We're at home trying to reimagine our business, actually reimagining our business. You talked about the possibility of Facebook Live. We've been having weekly Facebook, what we call Facebook huddles with top recruiting analysts on, like Eric Richards, who's my partner, but is the selection committee director for the All-American Bowl. We've had 24/7 Sports. Rusty Mansell came on, talked about recruiting and exactly how it's affected, especially seniors this year. And so we're using this time to kind of reimagine our whole business. And we've done some newsletters, we've done a lot of podcasts on our own, we've done Facebook Live, and so it was interesting in speaking to Rusty last week. Who's one of the writers for 24/7 Sports and is at a lot of our events as well as a host of other events across the country, is that he said a lot of the same things we've all been thinking, is that right now it's tough for that senior kid that is kind of a tweener between Division one AA, and unfortunately with all the camps being canceled, especially the college camps, some of those kids that were looking for that D1 offer or a Power 5 offer aren't going to be seen because all the colleges are closed right now, and the coaches can't be on campus to see these kids. And so for us, it's changed it a little bit in the sense that we're actually moving forward with our Top Gun camp, which will be in July in our new $100 million sports complex down here in the Paradise Coast in Naples, Florida. And we're hoping that without the camps, the college camps this year, that athletes will attend our camp, and some of the 4 or 5 star athletes will attend our camp as well, just because there's no other camps out there to get seen at right now.
So you bring up a good topic. You have a camp that supposedly, hopefully, will be in July. So pretty much you feel pretty good that you should be able to go forward with that.
Boy, I think we're like everybody else. I know for me, I'm trying to take it day by day because it seems like every day we hear something new. And as you've seen, like I just literally was on the phone with an athletic director from Texas, and they're kind of in a waiting game as well. They think they'll have more news on May 1st. Our governor here in Florida has said that he's going to open up the economy a little bit more slowly starting May 1st as well. And so I think we'll be in a different world come June 1. I think there's a lot of things that will change in the next six weeks. And as long as safety allows us to do so, our goal is to do a couple of our camps that we couldn't get to regionally in June. And obviously we're at the mercy of the school system. So we'll do whatever the school systems allow us to do. And then our goal is, and in talking to officials down here in Naples, Florida, is to be at the new sports complex as the first event in our new sports complex in the Paradise Coast, holding our Top Gun camp. And, we certainly may have some different ways that we're going to go about the camp, especially with the social distancing and understanding that we'll have protocols and processes in place for that. But as of right now, that's the goal, is to have our Top Gun camp July 10th through 12th.
And in regards to the Top Gun camp, how do you Does the schools or nominate the kids for this, or the coaches, or how does that work?
Great question. Normally, we generally go to 25 cities across the country for our regional camps. I was just telling somebody previous to this is we're kind of like Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. So we've got a wrapped truck, with all the former athletes that have been through our FBU camps, and you'll see a lot of them in tonight's draft. We'll have probably 8 to 10 first-round draft choices that have been a part of FBU over the years. And we rock up to a school and we use all of our own equipment, and we're there for 3 days and we pack it back up and we move on. And so the same thing with Naples. With the Naples camp, we'll invite kids down to our Top Gun camp. But to answer your question, normally we actually select the kids for Top Gun at our regional camps that we do across the country. About 30% of those athletes from the 25 regional camps get an offer to come down, an invite to come down to Naples for our Top Gun camp. This year, because we probably won't be able to do most of our regional camps, we are currently right now, we've put a committee together. We're currently taking in huddle highlights of kids, and we're sending them invites based on their huddle highlight this year. So a little bit different, a little bit more of watching film that I haven't done for a long time since I was a youth and high school coach. But it's kind of fun being able to kind of get down on the ground and watch these kids huddle highlights and be able to send them out invites the old-fashioned way.
So I got two questions in regards to the NFL draft tonight, and one of them is, what kid has come out of your camp that you just just kind of blew your mind? You just and was successful
Yeah.
on and off the field.
That's a great question. If you're asking me this draft, there's
No,
probably
I'm asking you in the past. In the
in
past.
the past. I think hands down Christian McCaffrey. Christian came to
Christian
our
McCaffrey.
Christian came to our camps in seventh grade and eighth grade. Played in our All-American Bowl in seventh grade and eighth grade. Went on into our national combine and played in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl as a senior, and just signed the biggest contract for a running back in NFL history. So, Christian is always a very humble kid. Came from obviously a great family and a football family, at that. And so, I've got a up on my LinkedIn page where I met you. I've got a picture of Christian when he was in seventh grade and played in our All-American Bowl, or excuse me, in our youth All-American game as a seventh grader. So if you ask me what's the one kid that really came out of an FBU camp and really didn't think he'd be at the level he is today, we always knew he was going to be a good one, but did I ever think he'd be one of the best running backs in today's modern running back type of style? I would have said no, but he's done a great job. But there's so many of them, Daryl, that have come through our system. I mean, Jared Judy tonight, he's probably one of the most athletic kids that have ever come through our combine. Tua Tagovailoa came through our Top Gun camps as a seventh and eighth grader. DeAndre Swift, the running back at Georgia, he came through our camps. Derek Brown, probably the number one defensive lineman out of Auburn, that'll be drafted in the first round tonight, was another one. So we got a host of them.
And I'm gonna throw this out at you. Do you think that what do you think? And I mean, I'm not gonna hold you to that. Where do you think two are going?
Yeah, that's I think had he not got hurt last year, I think he's the number one pick overall. I really do.
Right.
I think if you look back at his 2 years of film, the grace that he throws the ball, he's got great pocket presence. He's unbelievable at looking off, defensive backs, and he's a heck of an athlete, for his size and everything. And so if you would have asked me before he got hurt, I think he's the number one pick. I think he's going to still go as the second or third quarterback tonight. I think you'll see him go to either the Dolphins or somebody that really needs a quarterback. So I think he's the second or third pick.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on high school recruiting now? What are your thoughts on the change? From COVID-19 and going forward. Again, you kind of went over how, I was talking to some of the kids and how they trying to, I mean, I was talking to one draft pick, and he said he's doing insanity tapes, and so, and he's probably going to be a free agent, but hopefully get drafted tonight. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, not
Yep.
tonight, maybe tomorrow, or I think what is it in Saturday? Is that right?
Yeah, Saturday he'll probably get a call out. We got a couple of kids like that
Okay.
too that are free agents.
So
That's
if you what is your thoughts on the recruiting scheme scene right now, and going forward with that? What would your advice be for kids right now who, like you said, that are high school juniors and even the seniors? It's sad. I mean, that are
yeah,
going, well, let's say the juniors that are going to the seniors because they got no 7-on-7. Most of the
right.
coaches that I've talked to have canceled all the camps. So it's like, I mean, what am I going to do? I mean, you're just sitting
I
around.
know. I know. And it's a tough one, right? Like you mentioned, both for the seniors and for that junior about to be a senior. And so, I think the best advice is just to stay with it, right? Work hard, make sure that, I always tell kids and parents all the time, because, until you come to a camp setting, whether it's FBU or any other camp that's out there, and you kind of hear the recruiting process, most parents have no clue about it.
Right.
I thought I did, before, 10 years ago, being a football guy, I thought I knew everything about recruiting. I really knew very little, and so we always talk to parents, whether it's NCSA that's in talking to our parents, or 24/7 Sports, or Exos Digital, another partner of ours. We always tell parents to look, go out and find 5 or 10 schools that you really want to go to, right? And build a football resume and start interacting with the recruiting coordinators at those schools, and DMing them, getting a hold of them, sending their information, getting them to read that and watch that huddle highlight film, and really be pragmatic about making sure that you're really using this time wisely to get an opportunity to hunt some of these guys down and get in front of them because everybody's on their computer these days,
Right.
right? They're either on their phone or they're on the computer, and they're looking at film, and the recruiters are in the same situation. They're wondering how they're going to find these types of kids. So
Right.
I think you got to do your due diligence, and you really gotta focus on what are the schools you got to want to go to, and how can I build a football resume. And during this COVID-19 time, how can I get in front of these guys through social media? And then, this isn't going to go on forever, Daryl, right? This is going to, in the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whenever it is, we'll get back to some sort of normalcy, and hopefully the high school season starts and the recruiting cycle gets back on going again. We can start holding Camp 7, and you just got to hope and pray for the best.
And that kind of goes back to the kids real quick. When you have a kid and you're talking to them about, trying to find the top 5 schools, um, and when they do come to your camps, and let's just be honest, I mean, only 1% is going to actually. Everybody wants to go to the NFL.
Yep.
Everybody, the AAF went out of business. Now the XFL decided to go. I mean, there was an opportunity. A lot of them don't even want to consider the CFL. But I mean, if you really want to play, you're going to do whatever it takes to play, be it on and off the field. I mean, with your grades and everything, you always got to have a backup plan. So I go back to, I mean, with the kids that are basically, I mean, if you had an advice for them on picking the right school, because some of them don't, they just like, oh, I want to go to Notre Dame, and then you have like, oh, let's just use Alabama. Alabama's a real good. I want to go to Alabama, but you got like 5 or 6. Your chances of getting playing time is on a scale from 1 to 10. Do you at your camps? Do you sometimes educate the kids on making the right decisions, doing your due diligence and homework on finding the right school, or just like, oh, I want to go to Alabama because they want me, but what is my chance to getting, playing time? Because I mean, Tua, his brother was right behind him, and then you had Jalen Hurts. So I mean, I just use that as an example of just,
Yeah, no, it's a great example, and I think these days kids got to be realistic, and that's a hard one, right? I mean, everybody wants to play for a Power 5 team. Everybody wants to play Division 1, but as you said, it's the 1% of the kids that are going to play, Division 1 football. Then it's the 1% of the 1% that are going to go on to the NFL, and so I think kids have to be realistic. And coming myself from a small Division 3 school, there's great football at Division 1 AA, Division 2, Division 3, and even NAIA. And these schools
Right.
will give you money to play this great game of football. And so just because you may not be a Division 1 player, does that mean you should start playing football and using this great sport as a vehicle for an education? So I think you need to be realistic. And I think for that Division 1 player that you mentioned, when everybody wants to go to Bama, Georgia, and LSU right now, right? Those are in Ohio State. Those are the 3 or 4 schools that every Division 1 Power 5 kid wants to play for. And I can tell you, I just dealt with 2 kids, that played in the SEC. And had they gone on and played at a Boston college, not taking anything away from Boston College, but had they go on to play for a Boston College or a Connecticut or some school that is a Division 1 school, but not a Power 5 school, maybe, they'd be starters. And unfortunately, because those 4 or 5 schools that we mentioned, including Notre Dame, they're getting all the 4 or 5 stars. So I think the question kind of lies: do you want to play right away, or do you want to sit behind 3 or 4 or 5 stars and hopefully get your shot somewhere down the road? And so I think it's twofold. I think you have to be a realistic at the Division 1 level, and I also think you need to be a realistic if you can't play Division 1, that there's a lot of opportunities to use football as a vehicle for an education.
And Steve, last question: social media and athletes branding. What is your thoughts? What do you when you go to when you do your camps? How do you communicate with the kids about making sure they say the right things,
Yeah.
doing the right things, have branding the right things? NCAA now is getting ready to start in 2 more years. Athletes going to be able to make money off their likeness. Between a one, I think. Well, let's just say maybe in a year or 2. So, what is your thoughts on social media and athletes? Because you got some high school kids that are doing so good in communicating, putting out the right content. By the time they get to basically professional level, if you are playing for the Cowboys or whoever, you are a brand. If you're playing for Arizona or Alabama, you are a brand. So what is your thoughts on social media athletes, kids building a brand before they even get to that point right now when you do the camps?
You've asked some really good questions, Daryl, and this is another great one. We do a social media seminar at all of our camps. And one of the first slides that we do with the kids, and we have the parents there as well, is that we show our partner NBC Sports, obviously the U.S. Army, we used to be a partner, Adidas, one of our partners, Exos Digital, and the list kind of goes on and on. Those are all brands, right? And so once we get through those slides, we then show a player, and that player is his own brand. And you can use social media as a great platform and as a positive platform, but you can also use it as a negative platform. And I can tell you, I've seen it over and over and over again. And one of our slides is a couple of recruiters saying that they looked at the social media post of an athlete and they saw a couple of cuss words on there, or they saw some things that they didn't like, and they checked them off the list, right? And so social media is a strong platform for our kids, both positively and negatively. But if you use it in a positive way, and I was just having this conversation yesterday with a parent whose son doesn't like, he's a humble kid and doesn't like to put himself out there, and he's probably not getting as many offers as the kid that's out there, in social media and using his likeness to create and build his brand. And so I think as a young athlete, you got to do that in this day of age. You got to put yourself out there. You got to put your brand out there, but you got to make it sure it's done professionally. It's done with integrity. Because I can tell you, and speaking to the recruiters, they all look at their social media pages. And if you got stuff up there that's not positive, they're going to take you off the list. There's too many kids out there that are doing the right thing for them to take the wrong type of person.
Yeah, that's again, and just like we said, 1% is gonna make it to the pros, 1%, and still you're gonna need your brand to basically. You need it for a job. You need to get into college.
No doubt.
But the bottom line is, kids now, since they're at home, this is the best time to build their brand, put out the right content. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to kind of chat about social media, high school recruiting, because this is a big topic. Now because of everything going on, kids are now at home. Some of them probably watching Netflix. Hopefully they're doing their work,
Yeah.
because I mean, they and still playing a sport is work too, because you got to be on and off the field. So again, man, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out on your busy schedule to kind of speak to me about your experience, what you're going through, um, and how it has affected your business. Because again, hopefully this summer, everything is coming back. I'm in Texas, so they have canceled 707.
Yeah, I heard that.
Uh, yeah, and the 707, that's basically, they canceled all the meets, and then they actually canceled the event in July. So everything is pretty much, and all the football coaches and some of the former pro football players that do have summer camps, everything. I mean, this whole summer has been changed around. So again, it's just the bottom line is trying to find a different way. And I think doing seminars, I mean, like you said, you're trying to find a different way to get with these kids. Parents are probably wondering, man, I want my son to get a scholarship. Okay, but still, he's got to do stuff on and off the field. But again, it was a pleasure talking to you and sharing these minutes with you. That's all today. I'm Daryl Duvall. Thanks for watching Chalk Talk. Take care and please come back next week. Hey, thanks, Chris, man.
Thanks, Daryl. I appreciate it.
No problem.